Hi, this is Dale Caffey with more of the great things happening at the Waco Independent School District. I am pleased to be on the campus of Bells Hill Elementary to bring some recognition to a school nurse who made sure one of the students here got the treatment he needed. I'm with Tiffany Fielding. She's a school nurse in the Waco ISD. She's now serving at Provident Heights Elementary, but was here at Bells Hill 2 years ago. This is Jaime Boteo, who got the treatment that he needed, and this is Mom Leticia Aldava, who is very appreciative of Nurse Fielding. First of all, Tiffany, tell me a little bit about the story. This happened 2 years ago, but it's still probably very fresh in your mind.
Yes, it was the end of his second grade. He's now in fourth, and he came in a couple of times. The teacher noticed that he had a kind of a large knot on the side of his neck, and she said, have you noticed this? And I said, well, no, let me check it out. And so I contacted Mom and let her know about it, and she decided, let's take him to the doctor and get things looked at. There they diagnosed him with a possible lymph node infection and put him on antibiotics. About a week went by and it seemed to get larger. And so the teacher was like, what should we do? And I said, well, I'll call Mom back. And so I called her back and she said, they changed the treatment and then he had a reaction to that and they were still kind of up in the air about what exactly was going on. And so we kind of let a few days go by and he got pretty tired of coming to me. He was like, I do not want to go back to the nurse. I'm fine. And over the week, he started developing a little bit of a cough, not a harsh cough, just a little bit of a cough. And when he came in my office this particular day, he was coughing a little bit. He was irritated to be in there. And I was like, we got to figure out what's going on. It's not going away. The treatment may not be working for you. So let's figure this out. And so while he was sitting there, he made a stridor noise, and a stridor is like a very high-pitched noise that you make whenever you breathe in, and it's usually a restriction of the airway. And I was like, that is a very odd noise, and you shouldn't be doing that. And I took his pulse oximeter, which is his oxygen level, and it was significantly low. At that point, I got Mom on the phone right away, notified her that we've got to get something done, that something needed to be looked into more, that something else was going on. And I just had this feeling, and I would have wanted to do anything I could to help her out and get the answers we needed. And at that point, whenever we went in and discovered there was much more than we thought.
You mentioned stridor noise. Is that similar to wheezing?
No, it's not a wheeze. It's sometimes if a child has croup, it's a noise that you hear because croup is a restriction on the airway. And so it's kind of like a seal, just a very high-pitched noise. And it's when you inhale, it's the noise that you hear. So it's not a wheeze. It's much different than that. So I could tell it was something going on as far as if this was pushing on it or if there was something else going on.
What was going on?
He actually was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. It turned out that the particular area on his neck was not causing so much of the stridor noise, that the tumors had already gone inside and they were growing down his airway into his lungs. And so I believe it was stage 3 whenever they discovered it. So it was much more than just the lump on the neck. That was kind of a way of saying, hey, something's wrong, check me out. And so we discovered there was more going on.
Well, you were very persistent. You knew something was wrong, and he ends up going to Cook's Children's Hospital. Is that correct?
Yes. After evaluation here in Waco, they decided he needed further evaluation, and that's where they sent him to Cook Children's, and they did the scans and made the diagnosis.
Wow. Okay. We're going to break off from our interview now and talk to Jaime about what he experienced at Cook's Children's Hospital. Jaime, that's pretty scary, don't you think? Were you at any time scared when you had the soreness in your neck and you were seeing Nurse Fielding? You were never scared?
I was.
You were? Mm-hmm. Very good. How bad did it hurt?
It really hurted.
It hurted?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Were you having trouble breathing, like she said?
Yes.
Very good. Tell me what you remember about having to go to Fort Worth on a regular basis and sometimes stay up there.
I can't remember.
You can't remember? Mm-hmm. Was it ever pretty scary?
Mm-hmm.
Mom, Leticia Aldava, You already have tears in your eyes. What do you remember about this? I know it was about a year and a half ago now, but this was a very serious condition.
Yes, it was. It was really scary because I'm a single parent. I have 5 kids. I thought I had everything in the world. 5 healthy kids in school, great. And all of a sudden he gets sick. I keep going to the doctor. I can't find an answer. And I keep going back and no answer. Finally, Miss Tiffany calls me and says his oxygen stats go down. I take him to the ER. They can't find anything on, but I take him to Providence. Finally, they do a X-ray. And that's where they found the mass. And that's when they took us to Cook's. I left my oldest son there, and he wanted to come home. He wanted medicine, and give me some medicine and go home. I'll be okay. Right. It was scary when we went over there, and they had to do a biopsy. And they tell me, we can't give him anesthesia to put him totally under. He can wake up, and I didn't have anybody there to hold my hand, and, they had to do the biopsy. They came in there and I got some fluid from his spinal cord to find out, see if everything was okay, and thank goodness everything came out okay, It was just scary because cancer, you think death automatically, and I had to explain to my other kids, he's on stage 3, they caught it, he's gonna go through some stuff, I can't be here with you. So it was hard being a parent with him and then being there, and then they gave him steroids, so those are not very good, right. But even though he got steroids, he was a very good kid, he didn't cuss me out, so to me that meant me a lot, he kind of kicked me out of the room, but other than that, I think we were okay. He thought of other people. He wanted to come back to school. He hated missing school. He wanted to come back and see Miss Tiffany. He went through a lot. His taste buds, he did chemo, lost all his hair. He didn't want his hair to fall out, so as soon he had a big thing, but he did really good.
Jaime, how happy are you now because of this head of hair? You got a nice head of hair again. You like that?
Yes.
Yeah. You didn't like having no hair, right? I can see that you're very touched by this, and I can tell because you were in a dangerous position. What do you think about Nurse Fielding? Tell me about her.
I think she's nice and helpful because she found out that I had cancer and there's something wrong with me.
Very good. Thank you so much for being here and being such a brave person. And I know that was tough for you because Mom, he had quite a bit of treatment. I mean, talk about how long that took.
It took about 6 months off and on. He did 28 doses of radiation. We stayed in Fort Worth at the Ronald McDonald House Monday through Friday. We'd come home on Friday evening, stay with the other kids Saturday, Sunday, and then take off again Monday. So, chemo, he did really good except for 2 blood infections. When we wound up, I got called at work where I had to run to the store, go buy groceries for my kids, and tell my oldest one, you're in charge of the rest. I've got to go. I had to pack my clothes and take off, and we wound up being there for about sometimes a week and a half.
So he was having to stay by himself at Cook's somewhat?
No, I stayed with him the whole time, yeah. My oldest son had moved out, but came back to help with my other kids.
All right.
Yeah.
So were you working during the day and going to Fort Worth to stay with him at night, or were you taking off work?
I took off of work, but I was working like during the weekends. When I came home, I would work during the weekends just to keep my insurance.
Right. And I know, I don't even have to say this, how appreciative you are for the lady standing behind me, Nurse Fielding.
Oh, I think she's amazing. I mean, a lot of people talk really bad about schools and nurses, and and I think they're like a second parent to our kids. And I always tell my kids, mind your teachers. When I'm not there, your teachers have they can do anything they want to, and you do what they say because that's your second parent or your third parent. But you do as they say, and I'm very grateful for her because of her I have my son. She kept on, and I was getting angry, and I was like, oh my God, what can I do? I keep taking him to the doctor, and I can't, and I didn't understand why, but maybe God had a reason,
Well, Miss Aldava, I want to commend you for what you're doing, a single mom raising 5 children, did you say? and of course having to go through this, and that had to be tough. How happy are you now to see him run and play?
Oh, I'm extremely happy. You know, there were times that he was laying down and he couldn't lay down. He had to sit up to sleep, you know. And now to see him play soccer again, see him play football, go outside and play with a scooter and have friends and be in school, that's amazing.
Now, Jaime, I believe you sort of been adopted by the soccer team over at University High School, haven't you? Tell me about what you're doing on Friday nights now.
Well, I'm going to the sidelines with Coach Jaime every day since he's over there. He always lets me.
Very good. That's Coach Mike Chapman, head coach of the soccer team. And do you plan on, soccer season is coming up soon. Are you going to be watching the Trojans this year?
Yes, and I'm going to try to be in Soccer Buddies.
All right, Soccer Buddies. That's great. That's a great program that Coach Chapman and his other coaches have developed. Well, thank you so much for being so brave, and congratulations on being very healthy. And you just keep it up, because someday you're going to play soccer for Coach Chapman, I believe, right?
Yes.
Very good. And we want to thank Coach Chapman and the soccer team at University High School for basically adopting Jaime and showing him a good time. Coach Chapman is there with him on the sidelines on Friday Night Football, showing him a good time there as well, and we appreciate that. Wrapping it up now with Nurse Fielding, this is what it's all about. Being a school nurse, you see children on a day-to-day basis. Some might be having a cough, some might be running a fever. Have you ever had anything this serious?
No, I have not. And, I treat all of these as if they are my kids because, their moms and dads are working. And so they need somebody to, when they do have a stomach ache, a lot of times it's more than just a stomach ache. You kind of look into it more and see, well, is it because you're hungry? Is it because of different things that are going on? Are you nervous about something? Sometimes my persistence does make people a little upset because I just felt in my heart that there was something else going on and wanted to get to the bottom line of it. And so that's why my persistence was there. But I feel it paid off, and I'm glad that he's been in remission for a year now, and very, very happy about that.
Very good. Tiffany Fielding, all I can say is thank you for what you did for Jaime and what you're doing for children today at Providence Heights. And I want to say a thank you to all of our school nurses out there because they're all out there trying to do their job. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much.
Once again, my name is Dale Caffey reporting from Bells Hill. Great things are happening at the Waco Independent School District.